This is the Composer's Datebook for October 7th. I'm John Zeck. On today's date in 1909, The Golden Cockerel, the last opera of the Russian composer Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov, had its premiere performance in Moscow. Rimsky-Korsakov had died the previous year after a bitter battle with government censors who objected to the opera's thinly disguised satire against the bumbling administration of Tsarist Russia. For the premiere performance, the censors won. The opera was performed with all the changes that Rimsky-Korsakov had so stubbornly resisted while alive. The original text was not restored until after the Russian Revolution of 1917. Closer to our own time, in October of 1987, American composer John Adams' Nixon in China opened at Houston Grand Opera. Alice Goodman's libretto depicts the historic visit to Red China of President Nixon and then Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. Adams says he was completely indifferent to what the real-life personages in his opera might have thought of it. No government censors objected, in any case, but Adams reports that Richard Nixon's lawyer, Leonard Garment, did attend a performance of Nixon in China, most likely to report back to the former president. Nixon's reaction is not known, nor that of Henry Kissinger, who is not portrayed in a very flattering light in this opera. We're happy to report, however, that according to John Adams, Leonard Garment did subsequently become something of a fan of his music. For more information, check out our website, composersdatebook.org. Composer's Datebook is produced by APM, American Public Media, and the American Composers Forum, reminding you that all music was once new.
Hi friends, Joe Haffner here. Are you interested in buying, selling, trading, or renting a house? Or maybe you're in the market for buying or selling a car? Or perhaps selling or giving away clothes, furniture, or electronics? Well, I can help you out. Just email me, Joe, at Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com. That's Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com. Email me today with your item and or items, and together we'll come up with a creative way to buy, sell, trade, or rent any reasonable item or service that you want. Keep in mind, though, I don't deal with the exchange of firearms, alcohol items, drugs, or anything illegal or immoral. So send me an email today at Gunther'sHouseOfFriends@gmail.com. Say friends, are you shopping for a gift to give to that special someone in your life, but are tired of the same old thing that you could get at the local big box store? Then let me suggest to you that you go to www.facebook.com/WishingStars Native Creations. At Wishing Stars Native Creations, you'll find unique gift items like dream catchers, necklaces, and bracelets, all handmade, one-of-a-kind pieces. My dear friend Chris Mayer has been making these high-quality, hard-to-find items for years, and she's ready to work with you. So check her out today, www.facebook.com/WishingStars Native Creations. She accepts several forms of payment, including money orders and PayPal.
This is Across Our Wide Missouri with Bob Pretty.
They'd fought skirmishes with the Confederate troops as the Southerners approached the city, and now it was night and the Union soldiers were fortifying themselves for the attack they were sure would come the next morning. The Confederates, making a bold thrust into Missouri, a last gasp thrust according to some, had been frustrated by mistakes and near misses for weeks and had just fought a bloody battle to the south. But now the state capital was within their grasp. The city, never before attacked by the Confederacy, was facing its greatest danger since the opening days of the war, when Union forces had taken over peacefully without a shot being fired or a casualty being reported. Now, however, Sterling Price was back on the most ambitious effort to recapture Missouri for the South, and the capital city was within his grasp. The story in a minute. Sterling Price had hoped to take St. Louis, move upriver and take Jefferson City, then head west to capture Kansas City, but he'd decided St. Louis was too strongly fortified, had swung to the west and tried to wipe out the garrison at Pilot Knob, only to lose 1,000 men in 20 minutes of desperate fighting. The word of his advance had gone ahead of him by miles. Union skirmishers met his troops as they moved toward Jefferson City. Citizens of the town could only wait for whatever might happen at the hands of Price and his 10,000 men. The capture of the capital city was important for any number of reasons. One of the men who most wanted to see it was Thomas C. Reynolds, who'd been lieutenant governor at the start of the war. He and other Southerners had fled in 1861, but now Reynolds felt he was the legitimate heir to the governor's office since the death of Claiborne Jackson. He would have dearly loved to have been installed in the office he felt was legitimately his if Price could take Jefferson City. Sterling Price was expected to close his grip on the town at dawn. The men fired a few shells into the city the afternoon. The Confederates drew up around town. The Union forces answered back, but neither side inflicted much damage. General Clinton Fisk commanded Union troops at Jefferson City. He'd arrived with his reinforcements just ahead of Price. That night, Price massed his troops on the Federal right. Men of both sides were sure Price would launch the assault at first light. The irregular fire of artillery and occasional skirmishes broke the night's quiet. Dawn came. Sunrise. Both armies continued to wait, tensely. The wait was even longer in the town that morning, for it's never easy to wait for an attack you are sure will come. But the attack never happened. At mid-morning, the news went through Jefferson City that Price would not attack after all. Some think Price didn't attack because of a sentimental attachment to a city in which he'd been a member of the legislature and, a decade before, had been governor, but he always said he was a little more practical than that. At 10 o'clock that morning, Price gave the order, withdraw, move west. Only one unit got into a firefight. Colonel J. A. Schnabel's unit ran into the Union cavalry. The fighting was furious. Schnabel was wounded 3 times. His horse was killed. He lost 18 men. Price later said he decided not to attack because the Union forces had greater strength and stronger fortifications. The battle certainly would have been time-consuming and costly, as Price's men would have had to go house to house. Even a force of 10,000 men would have had an almost impossible task before it. Certainly, if the Confederates had stormed the town, much of Missouri's capital city would have been destroyed. Not to be overlooked was the fact that Price wanted to keep moving west, and by the time he reached Jefferson City, his supply train was strung out over miles of Missouri landscape. Some have suggested Price's main objective was to contain the Federal forces while he could get his supply train past Jefferson City and its large Union contingent. Regardless, he didn't attack, and it was on to Kansas City to the Battle of Westport. Some call it the Gettysburg of the West. But in this instance, Jefferson City, the state capital, had survived its closest brush with destruction of the war when Sterling Price encircled the town, but decided not to attack on this date, October 7th, 1864.
I was just finishing my 199th picture. Never felt better in my life, and I said to myself, when this is finished, I'm going out on my boat. And then I got nagged into going for a medical checkup. They found a spot on the x-rays. It was lung cancer. If I'd waited a few more weeks, I wouldn't be here now. That's me 7 years after surgery, in true grit, because I did myself a favor and got a checkup. So why don't all of you do yourselves a favor? Get a checkup. Talk someone you like into getting a checkup. Nag someone you love into getting a checkup. And while you're at it, send a check to the American Cancer Society, too. It's great to be alive.
Welcome back to Studio 26 on this Monday evening as we roll on a very late edition of First Cup, or as my dear friend Chris is now calling it, Second Pot. And something to think about. I may come up with a nighttime show just yet. Only problem is Thursday and Friday nights will be a little bit difficult, but we'll see. I'll come up with something, I'm sure. All right. What do I have for you now? How about celebrity birthdays? And there's some famous people celebrating birthdays today, as they are pretty much every day of the year. So we'll get that music for you up right now after In the Heat of the Night.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell's the matter with you? Other people have birthdays. Why are we treating yours like a funeral?
Bones, I don't want to be lectured.
Very, very many happy reasons.
And before I run down the list of celebrity birthdays for today, if your birthday is today, happy belated birthday, or soon-to-be belated birthday. You share birthdays with these following people. TV personality Joy Behar is 71. Singer John Mellencamp is 62 today. Gospel singer Michael W. Smith is 56. And Simon Cowell is 54. And again, if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday. All right. In the meantime, speaking of birthdays, of course, a historical event, especially if you're a celebrity. And speaking of history, we're going to go back in time for a little bit and find out what happened on this date in years past, aside from some famous people being born. So I have room for one passenger in the time machine. Yes, I know it's a DeLorean. Looks like a DeLorean. But when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, well, it's going to be a ride you won't soon forget. So, I have room for one passenger, and that passenger is you. So, get in the car. Don't slam the door. Don't slam the door. We'll never get out of this thing. We turn on the time circuits, shut this off, and away we go. Oh, listen to that baby purr. And our first stop back in time takes us to October 7th in the year 1806. Ralph Wedgwood secured a patent for carbon paper. Yes, carbon paper on this date in 1806. And he immediately made a copy of it too. Ralph Wedgwood. Have you ever played with carbon paper? Hours and hours of fun. At least that's what one of my grandmothers tried to convince me. But it is a lot of fun. Happened on this date in 1806. And for more of today in history, let's go to the Associated Press.
October 7th, 2001. Just weeks after the September 11th terror attacks, the United States and Britain launched military strikes on Afghanistan. On a videotape, Osama bin Laden praises God for the 9/11 attacks, but the al-Qaeda leader does not claim responsibility for them. 1985. In the Mediterranean, Palestinian gunmen hijacked the Achille Laurel, an Italian cruise ship off the coast of Egypt. The hijackers kill passenger Leon Klinghoffer, an elderly Jewish-American tourist, before surrendering 2 days later. 1991. In Washington, U.S. Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas faces damaging allegations of sexual harassment. Law professor Anita Hill accuses Thomas of making sexually inappropriate comments when she worked for him in 2 federal agencies during the 1980s. Hill urges the Senate to investigate. Thomas denies her claims, and the Senate later confirms him. 1998. Matthew Shepard, a gay college student, is beaten and left tied to a wooden fence post outside Laramie, Wyoming. Shepard dies 5 days later. Russell Henderson and Aaron McKinney are serving life sentences for his murder. 1951. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah. Little big houses for you and me. John Mellencamp, the singer and songwriter with Heartland rock hits, is born in Seymour, Indiana. And 1982. Memory, all alone in the moonlight. In New York, Cats, the musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice, opens on Broadway. Today in history, October 7th. Mike Gracia, The Associated Press.
Hi friends, before I return you to the latest episode of First Cup, I want to help you with your Christmas gift shopping plans. Do you have someone special on your list who is hard to shop for? Or are they interested in unique, one-of-a-kind gift items? Then Wishing Stars Native Creations is your answer. My dear friend Chris Mayer has been making Native American jewelry for several years and is ready to help you give that special someone in your life a one-of-a-kind gift. Just go to www.facebook.com/Wishing Stars Native Creations. That's facebook.com/Wishing Stars Native Creations. It's all one word. Wishing Stars Native Creations. Go there today and find out how Chris can help you. She accepts several forms of payment too, including money orders and PayPal.
I'd like to drop out of high school and get a meaningless job that makes me feel bad about myself.
I'd like to fall victim to the old boys network.
I know why.